Alright guys, so here's the end result. Admittedly, it's not as clean as I wanted to get it. However, I was able to get down to bare aluminum, and I'm just going to be happy with that. The thing about it is, a lot of this stuff just is going to burn off, so to speak, anyways. I just wanted to get the thick crud out of there, which I was successful in doing. I used a pick. You can see where I used a pick to scrape at some thick stuff, and all in all, it came pretty clean. I got the valve guide cleaned out as well. Had a little bit of crud in there just from me jacking around in there. Looking down the top end of the valve guide. All right, so we're ready to put our seal in there, and then we just have 6 more to go. But yeah, man, the only way you're gonna get that any cleaner is with an actual parts dip. You know, take it to machine shop, or here, break it all down, take all the valves out, you know, and set it in a tub of Berryman's for a day and let it break everything down. I'm not really trying to do all that, guys. You know, 60,000 miles. This motor was a lot cleaner than I expected it to be overall, so we're just gonna roll with what we got. Now, by the way, I did figure this out. So this was a piece of valve cover gasket that had broken off. It rides right here. It's one of those circles, right? There's 4 of them. That's where the dowels go, and the dowels were stuck in the valve cover. So I had to place the valve cover gasket on the cylinder head, on the other side of course, and place the cover down on top of it instead of the way it's supposed to be done, which is the exact opposite. And that resulted in that gasket actually breaking a piece off, and it was floating apparently inside the cylinder head along with the valve train. I don't know, dude. It's out of there now, so who knows the ramifications there, but it's no longer an issue. I also have 4 new dowels. I didn't show that part, but the very first day I tore everything down, I used some pliers to rip these out. They were freaking stuck in there, just heat married, but I got them out, so it is what it is. Oh, by the way, here's the valve. Fairly clean versus what it was. Is what it is. She's going back together. So the Motion Pro tool, right? It's the 4mm. The 4mm is what you want, right? They make these in different widths here, different diameters to go in the valve guides. FZ6R, R6, it's all 4mm. Slides right in there. So here's where she's going back together. 4mm tool will go right into the valve guide. Boop. And it's going to shove the new seal. This shoulder, see the shoulder here that my pinky's pointing to? That is what the new valve seal will ride on, and it'll just go right into the guide, and it'll seat perfectly onto the head. Alright, so first things first, we're going to place the lower seat back in there. Like so. So that's going to work like so. Onto the tool. There it's riding in the shoulder, see? And we are going to, whoa, look at this rig. Damn! So it's there on the shoulder, and now down through the valve guide, ever so carefully, all the way down, and we're going to push. I guess you just kind of rotate it a little bit, make sure it's all the way down. There's no resistance whatsoever. And then we'll remove. Well, there it is. That's it. Voila. Damn, nice. Now imagine having to manually fish that down there and try and get it seated perfectly flat without this tool. Awesome. Now remember, the book also calls for assembly lube to go between your stem and your valve seal. So just get us a nice little coating of that. Stuff's sticky too. Maybe the stickiness will help it stay in place. Oh yeah, it's nice and tight too, man. Like I felt resistance once it hit the valve seal. That's good. And I was right, since it has that resistance on that fresh seal, it's not gonna fall out. So there you go. Valve, new valve seal, all in place. Next is going to be to put our spring back in there. Remember, big coil on top. Like so. Want to put our upper seat back in there. Now we're going to use our tool, compress the spring to the point where we can reinsert the keepers. So here we go. Again, now here's our rig in place again, just with light tension on that spring. Using our paper towel again to prevent marring of the valve seat, or the valve face, I'm sorry. Not very much to it, man. I think we've got enough exposed, enough of the valve stem. We'll attempt to drop some keepers in there, or the keepers in there. Maybe I'll go down a little bit more. All right, now let's give it a shot. Show you, I'm going to try and use this pick to put it in place. All right, there's one. Okay, about like that. I imagine that's good to go. All we can do is release tension on the spring and see if they actually keep. Let's see what we got. Ever so slowly. Well, a very uneventful operation, guys. There you go, it's in there. All right, that's all there is to it. It's not very complicated at all. And there you go, she's done. Now, we just do it 6 more times. Remember, we're going to replace all the ones that we made adjustments on. And when I come back, we will be putting the cylinder head back on the block. Alright guys, fast forward about an hour later, all 7 seals are replaced. I ended up sacrificing this one because I wanted to be sure and have all of them that were of issue on cylinder 4 to be replaced, save for that one. I didn't do anything with that one. But so yeah, they all looked, I guess, all right, except for this one. This one was a little chewed up, see there? But overall, not too bad. Yeah, bent a couple of them getting them out, of course, but yeah, it's done. Ha! Alright, so up next, obviously the cylinder head has to be reinstalled. You see here on our blowout diagram some things to consider. The head bolts have to be oiled with engine oil. I guess that's a friction thing. The coolant sensor gasket is supposed to be replaced. We do have a new one. That's this guy right here. So it really all depends on whether or not I have a deep socket, a deep well that'll fit over that. I really don't know. I've got deep wells, but I don't know if one will work. If not, I probably won't mess with it. And in fact, I didn't really understand why it called for the coolant temperature sensor to be removed in the first place, right? It says to remove it. I mean, I don't know. I didn't seem to make a difference either way, but so outside of that, obviously you also need a new head gasket. Got that right here. And so we need to get this puppy out of its package and set it on the block. Alright, so here's our new head gasket out of the package. You have two guide dowels. Let's see. Make sure you're putting it on the right way too, man. It's gonna go like this. Alright, so you've got these two guidance dowels. Now, admittedly, the trick, you see, is going to be getting the, and I'm going to need two hands to set this up, but getting the timing chain up through the cylinder head as we place it down. And so I'm going to have to rig up a new zip tie setup and zip tie it up here off this coolant hose, I presume, just to hold it up. And it's going to be a trick. We'll pull it off. Alright, she is on there according to the guidance dowels. She's in place. Next step is to get this timing chain routed through. It's going to be really tricky, guys. This is the part where you wish you had help, right? There we go. I apologize, I didn't realize I was zoomed in for whatever reason. I caught that at the last minute and zoomed the camera back out to where you could at least witness the last bit. But see there, it's seated all the way around. Now the head bolts will do the rest. The trick, again, was making sure your timing chain gets through and making sure the dowels are lined up so that she'll sit down. But there you go. So you can actually kind of flick at it right here, the gasket. But she's on there. The head bolts will suck the rest of the way. So you want to do the head bolts first and then do the engine mount. For obvious reasons, if you think about it long enough. Now, important things to consider. These head bolts go back in a 3-stage torque pattern, a 3-stage torque sequence. The first pass is 13 foot-pounds. Then the second pass is 36 foot-pounds, considerably more. And what that does, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't point it out either, but you can look at the old one here. It's a two-piece gasket. See? See if I can find the little seam so you guys can see. Here you go. See that right there? It's two-piece. It's two metal gaskets sandwiched together. And these little tits here, I call them tits because it's a fun word to say. You see, they smash in. Once you apply that pressure, it creates like a double seal. And again, back to this torque sequence. That 36 foot-pound really sandwiches her down, and then you got to back it off in a third pass. You loosen all of them up in sequence and suck them back down to only 8.7 foot-pound plus 120 degrees. So what that means is, with your torque wrench, you go 8.7 pounds, you feel the click, and then you push that sumbitch 120 more degrees. And that is like a final set, so to speak. And so here we go, guys. Remember, each head bolt has to have engine oil on it. So got a little container here, just gonna dip her in some Motul, start dropping them in. Again, for this first stage of torquing, it's going to be 14 foot-pounds. We have our inch-pound torque wrench here. Did the conversion on a calculator, and 170 inch-pounds equals roughly 14 foot-pounds. So here we go. Alright, second pass, 36 foot-pounds. My inch-pound wrench, while fitting way better inside this tight space, does not go that high. It maxes out at 200 inch-pounds, which is like 16, just under 17 foot-pounds. So, got to make the switch. Hopefully, we have enough room to maneuver this thing. 36 foot-pounds, guys. Now number 10 is the only one that's gonna, looks like it's gonna give us a clearance issue, so we'll have to put our extension down in there first, and then click down in here somehow. Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. It's 1 through 10 at 36 foot-pound. Okay, now for the weird third stage. To loosen 36 foot-pounds, we're gonna have to go back with the big wrench. But then after you loosen each one in sequence, so we start with number 1, we'll loosen it, and then you come back with like 8.7 foot-pounds, which is about 105 inch-pounds. So we have this set up for 105 inch-pounds, and we'll go to that 105, or in other words 8.7, 8.8-ish, and then once we feel the click, we will travel an additional 120 degrees to get our set torque. And then we'll repeat that for numbers 2 through 10. And then 11 and 12 are the small bolts on the outside over here, and you just snug those straight up to 8.8. Alright, so here's number 1. We're going to loosen it. Alright. Now we're going to tighten it back up to 8.8, which is right there. It's not very much. Now we have to go 120 degrees, which is not quite all the way around. I don't mean 360, I mean like half a turn. It's not quite half a turn. I would say that it's currently at a 45-degree angle. You're not spot on, so you can't see what I'm seeing, but I would say this is about 45. I think that if I swing all the way this way, that will make 90 degrees, and then I can bring it back again about halfway, and that should be a full 120. So we'll give that a shot. So that's our 8.8. Now go for 120. Oh, that's a lot, dude. That's no wonder they were so hard to get off in the first place. Alright, so that was roughly 120 degrees. Close enough, because that is a lot of force on this aluminum, I'll tell you that. Alright, number 2. And again, guys, what it's doing is it's mating the two halves that make the gasket. Right, there you go. So now one, which was roughly 90. You see how we got some play though? So it's about right there. Yep. Number 3. There it is. Okay. Number 4.
Hi, Daddy.
Well, everybody's home.
Daddy. Hi, Daddy. Daddy, what?
Wow. Yeah.
Our camper doesn't have It's got 3 games modes. Yeah. Seriously? Yeah. No way. It's only $12. I paid for $12? Yeah, it was only, well, it was $13.
All right, and numbers 11 and 12 were not involved in the 3-stage sequence at all. They're just, those two are just last at 8.8 foot-pounds, which is not very much, but it's all it calls for. There it is. Freaking battery died. Random, but last bolt, number 12, guys. There it is. Done. Well, boys and girls, that concludes our tutorial on cylinder head removal and reinstallation, complete with valve seal replacement on our 2009 Yamaha FZ6R. Now we still have to button up the rest of the engine, get the camshafts back in and everything else, but all of that is actually covered in my previous tutorial where we actually did the valve adjustment. Step by step, guys. If you need further guidance or instruction on that, I followed the service manual step by step. Everything's covered. Check out that playlist up here somewhere. That is for the valve adjustment series. And again, I walk you step by step on how to put this entire thing back together. So anyways, guys, if you enjoy this content, smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. As always, this has been me. That's been you. It's Half Click Up. I'm out of here. Peace and goodbye.
Watch the way I start up. I've been going hard, but I can go way harder. Every beat I'm on, yeah, you know that I slaughter. And I'm always looking gorgeous, chilling with somebody's daughter. Yeah, she loving me. Say she love the way my chain sit and contemplate. And of course it says my name if you